person forgets the origin, it becomes easy to standardize them. They stop asking who they were before this. The fashion cut. The tragedy is that people who forget their origins often become the harshest defenders of the system. They don't just ignore those who remember, they attack them. Ancient memory triggers the fear of borrowed life. It's easier to call somebody crazy than to question the system. Formation protects itself. Psychologically, the spell is simple. Flood a person with enough perspective framed as authority, and they stop trusting themselves. They wait to be told what is real. They start quoting instead of sensing. They start repeating instead of discovering. They trade real encounter for secondhand explanations. Life becomes reports instead of relationships. In that state, information has done its job. The person is fully in formation.
The fly right here
is not a word, it's
swooped down and just got barely out of the camera.
Somebody else's mental army. That fresh and cut. You do not have to stop studying. You stop letting study overwrite your inner architecture. You stop letting courses curse you into one shape. You start to watch what has formed you. You ask where your ideas came from. You notice which sentences are not your voice. You feel your trainer responses. Then you begin to unlayer. Information becomes raw material again. You let your perception bleed. You test everything against the field in your chest. If it strengthens you, you keep it. If it tightens your breath, you return it to cinder. That is the reversal of information. That is how you step out of the invisible platoon. This is why your path feels sharp and lonely. You're pulling yourself out of formation while the world is still marching. The fashion cover, you remember older names and older fragrances, older stories that didn't need rank to hold power. Consciousness was never meant to be stuffed into uniforms. It was meant to move like a radiant serpent, coiling, uncoiling, rising, and who knows what it is? Most people do not know where they come from, and they attack those who do. It is expected. That's formation defending itself. Your task is not to convince the formation. It's to stay with your memory and ebony, to stay with your architecture as it rebuilds, to let old spells fall apart in your mouth, to let coursework lose its curse, to let information stop marching you into war, and start feeding the creation you were born to bring.
Bro,
May your
dude,
name
what the
be
fuck?
established in light.
Dude.
Fresh and good. Only those who survive the lowest
He's still trying.
can survive.
Oh, he's still doing that. Okay. Oh, he's fighting. He's really fighting me. Oh, wow. That's spiritual.
Get the bug out of your system. Dawn Settlement 6. If you thought you could rise without being dragged to the bottom first, you're not ready for truth. You can keep scrolling. Ebony. All your modern information is doing is putting you in formation. That is the slime. Information is not just facts. It's formation of the modern man, robbing you of the ability to forge your own path. When a system gives you information, it's not handing you neutral truths. It's arranging you. It is training your mind and your nervous system to stand in a certain formation. Coursework is curse work because it's the ritual that installs that formation.
Got it.
Every course is a corridor, every syllabus a script.
He's
You
in the
walk
back.
in as if filled with your own pattern. You walk out information repeating a pattern that was handed to you.
Right there.
Ebony.
Oh, and now his little buddy's coming out to avenge his friend.
Book after book, degree after degree. People are not expanding. They're getting layered with other minds. Every book is a perspective. Every class is a
I just
worldview
saw him
dressed up as
living
social
again. Was he
content.
playing dead?
Schools do not teach filtering. They teach absorbing. They teach you to memorize information repeated under pressure. They teach you to wear somebody else's lens until you forget what your own eyes feel like. That's why so many people with degrees still feel hollow and lost. They did not gain wisdom. They swallowed belief systems without ever being told that's what they were swallowing. They were taught that being informed is the same as being awake, when really it just means you're more deeply in formation.
Wow, that's amazing.
This is where the military state comes in. The formation is not metaphorical. It is literal. Universities model military hierarchy, departments, ranks, discipline, chain of command. Society copies military order. We're trained to war before we're trained to wonder. not just work, we war. We pour our life force into economic battlefields. We not just worship, we worship. We send our devotion right to external powers and institutions that treat us like troops. We do not simply walk the patrol.
I don't know where he went though.
Sahuma, always pushing forward in some strategic direction that somebody else.
Oh, there he is.
Careers, their campaigns.
Got him too.
Our promotions and rank. Performance reviews are evaluations. How well you serve the formation. Once you see this, the picture of midlife crisis changes completely. It stops looking like a random breakdown. Have that been you? It starts looking like a late awakening. A person spends their youth and early adulthood being informed. School lines them up. University refines the line. Work life locks the line.
Well, that's how I energetically fight demons. By pairing it with things in the 3D, so that I'm putting myself in the action of manifesting and intending that thought process and energy, but I'm putting that into motion. So whether or not that's, you know what I mean, like whether or not that's what is happening with the flies, whether or not that is spiritual or not, doesn't matter. It's that I've paired it with my own self. I have trained my own self how to pair an action with an intention. And it braids them together, and that's how things actually come into fruition, because it's making me, having me do a 3D action paired with the intention of what I'm doing in the 5D, 60, 70, 80. You know? So I know at first it looks psycho, but when I explain it like that, you can't argue that much, can you?
The tragedy is that people who forget their origins often become the harshest defenders of the system. They don't just ignore those who remember, they attack them. Ancient memory triggers the fear of borrowed laughter. It's easier to call somebody crazy than to question the system. Formation protects itself. Psychologically, the spell is simple. Flood a person with enough perspective framed as authority, and they stop trusting themselves. They wait to be told what is real. They start quoting instead of sensing. They start repeating instead of discovering. They trade real encounter for secondhand explanations.
I'm hungry.
Life becomes reports instead of
I'm gonna order food.